All right, everybody. Good afternoon. First video today. Usually, almost always, in fact, I would have multiple videos posted by now, but decided to just go ahead and be chill because it's the Seahawkless week. There's no game. Just sitting here watching these other teams. So there isn't a ton that I necessarily need to talk about. And honestly, I've gotten a pretty strong vibe from the fan base. For understandable reasons, people are kind of starting to check out. People kind of starting to lose interest and just want to kind of sim to the end of this season. And again, I get it. So there wasn't a lot that I wanted to put out there over this last week beyond what was necessary. But I want to ask, emotionally, mentally, how are we doing right now? This video is being powered by BetUS. More on them a little bit later. Yeah, I just want to know what people are doing. I just want to know what people are thinking and how it contrasts with how you were about a week ago, because as of this video getting posted, it'll be almost exactly a week after that Rams game ended last week, where, you know, you're right there in so many different ways. You should be winning that game about 10 different ways. You find a way to screw it up, and it feels like your season ended because you couldn't close the door when it was right there for you. To now, having gotten a week of separation from that and knowing that we got to get back on the horse in a week. How do you feel? How do you feel about the team? And for my part, because I do want to hear from you guys, just let me know, how are you doing compared to a week ago? Have you gotten a little more optimistic, a little more pessimistic? Are you a little bit more satisfied or less satisfied? I will say that after having a week away from that game, I think I'm more optimistic about the future of this team. The McDonald era, I guess you would say, the Mike McDonald era, and the era that you're entering with some of these young players. I think that when you get away from just the fact that you lost that game in gut-wrenching fashion, you do remember, hey, the defense made massive strides forward. The defense played way better, and that should be kind of the main thing that you're really evaluating right now, because McDonald's the guy you know you're going to be riding with for a little while here. And I was like, yeah, you know what? Lost in the crap of actually losing that game, which was painful. Yeah, that defense actually played really, really well against our arch nemesis. So yeah, I that definitely did hit me. So in terms of like the long term, that game did make me feel better, because I was waiting for McDonald to show that he could make adjustments. I was waiting for him to show that he could, excuse me, ooh, switch things up and adjust to what he has to work with to make something viable right now, because that's not what I saw in our first several losses, where he would lose players and presumably not have exactly what he wants, and he would just keep kind of trying to pound the square peg in the round hole. And that's what was bothering me. But in that game, in that Rams game, the adjustments were made and they worked mostly. It wasn't a perfect game, but it was a very good game by the defense. And given the fact that our head coach is who he is, yeah, that changes things, I think. But what about the short term? The short term, a week really should be enough time for me to be a little more optimistic. But I've kind of gotten to the point, and I hate doing this stuff, and I'm really against people giving into this kind of mentality. But I've kind of gotten to the point where I'm almost feeling a little snake bit as a fan of this team. And I have a feeling some of you guys out there are going to know what I'm talking about before I even say it. But before I continue to say it, I want to tell you about my friends over at BetUS, best online sportsbook and casino out there. Head on over there right now. You can throw down some wagers on tonight's Sunday night football game, point spread, money line, over-unders, props, whatever you want to do. And we got a game tomorrow night, an important game for the Seahawks, Dolphins, Rams. Bet on that any way you want to. Right now, you can use promo code YouTube150. YouTube150 gets you a 150% deposit bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000, and it gets you a excuse me, a 125% deposit bonus on your next 2 deposits up to $2,000. Give them a shot, check them out, and get to some sports betting. Bet US. Okay. But yeah. Back to it real quick. I've gotten it in my head. And when I say snake bit, I'm looking at that game next week against the Niners. And I'm even looking at the game the next week against the Cardinals. Mentally, I should be in a place where I expect to win, but I'm just not. Like, I watched the Niners play today. They didn't look that good. They certainly didn't look like a team that you should be terrified of. They're playing a Tampa Bay team missing so much talent at receiver, kind of had their wings clipped, and the game's back and forth. Niners come out on top. I shouldn't be scared of it, but I tell you, I am. And it goes beyond what we see on the football field. It has kind of gotten to the point now where I just feel like we're just destined to lose against a team like the Niners. Well, we're destined to lose against a team like the Rams. Because again, that game we played last week, so many different ways we should have won that game and couldn't get it done. So at a certain point, you start just feeling like things are going to find a weird way to not break your way. And the only way out of that mentality is to actually start winning. Like, I can't lie. Every time even last year through some of the tough times, I never got like this. But now just mentally, when I'm picturing the Seahawks game, like this game against the Niners, in my mind's eye, I'm seeing turnovers, I'm seeing drops, I'm seeing penalties. And even though I feel like that Niners team is really not that good right now, even though I feel like they've got some real problems that have shown in game after game after game after game, they're not going away. Even when they win, they don't look dominant. It's like it was today. It's like it was to a certain extent against the Cowboys, where that game got very close at the end. Not even a good Cowboys team. But I feel like I can break all that stuff down, but at the end of the day, there's just going to be something that I can't define that's going to keep this team from winning enough games to really get back into it right now. Like, I don't mean to spoil anything for anybody who wants to be left in suspense on this, but looking ahead to that Niners game next week, that's a game that, as a Seahawks content creator, I should feel like we're going to win for a few different reasons. And I can tell you right now, having seen absolutely nothing about who the Niners are going to have and who they're not going to have and who the Seahawks are going to have and not going to have, I don't feel it. I just feel like things are going to keep going the way they're going. That's a bad place to be as a fan. Because you should be able to push yourself towards the bent of optimism a little bit, right? And that's all I should have to do to say this Seahawks team is going to beat this relatively mediocre Niners team. But it's in my head. So that's kind of where I am right now. The week went by. A full week went by. And I couldn't dig myself out of the hole of pessimism. Long term, yes. But for this season, no. No, I don't believe that offensive line is fixable. And if it is fixable, then why didn't it get fixed a long time ago? But more likely is that it's just not fixable. And it's gotten so bad up front on that regard to where nothing else matters. So what else can you say? Yeah, I'm just making this video to generically check in here because I don't really have too much else to say. There are other things that I could talk about with this team, I guess, if I really wanted to make those videos, but I just want to see where people are right now as Seahawks fans because we've given ourselves a week to talk us into something good happening here. And today didn't help, right? The Niners win, the Cardinals win, the Rams will probably win tomorrow, the Vikings won. There were a couple okay results, but today's not really helping. So realistically, that's not pushing me towards the side of optimism. Atlanta lost, okay, that's kind of nice, but it would have been nice to at least be able to laugh at the Niners a little bit, right? That would have put you in a better mood instinctively, but can't do it. So, all right. I don't really have too much else to say. I'm just going to go ahead and get on out of here, watch this Sunday night game. I'll be live on Twitch tonight doing some power wash, doing some metaphor. One more Shrek DLC power wash map. And yeah, thank you for checking it out. And yeah, just tell me if you're feeling better, guys. Because I can read the room, and about this time last week the room was a very bleak place. And I just want to see if people have managed to talk themselves back into something better happening going forward. All right. See you guys on Twitch tonight. If not, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Go Hawks. And thank you to BetUS for powering this video.